Hello guys, first and foremost, thanks for all the support you provided over the last few days. Now let's get to the point. This video will hopefully be short and informative. I have both great news but also not so good news for those looking to buy the iPhone 12 Pro Max at its current state. However, before we can get into these details, let's look at some benchmarks and stress tests. In this test I did early last week, this is just a quick benchmark to show how each device can perform graphically in short bursts. One thing to note is last week I did not do the unlimited mode, so results can be slightly higher for the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Again, for this upcoming stress test, it is truly meant to show each device can perform under heavy graphical loads. This test mimics high-intensive graphical mobile games for a long duration. So let's get started with our first stress test. So these are the results of the first stress test. Let's get to the point. The good is we can see that the iPhone 12 Pro Max with the new iOS 14.3 update has increased the GPU performance compared to the last version, which was 14.2. The 12 Pro Max has now finally surpassed the 11 Pro Max in real-life GPU performance, versus before it was just numbers, things that looked good on paper. Now the not so good is the increase in performance for the 12 Pro Max is very minimum. We're looking at roughly a 15% increase for short burst GPU performance and roughly a 5% increase for steady long-term GPU gaming performance. Now, before I started the second stress test, I quickly checked and both devices were nowhere near hot or even really warm, which was very interesting to note. Second quick thing is if you look at the performance range, you can clearly see that each device stabilizes in the 6,000 loop range, while the 12 Pro Max maintains a consistent 5% increase in performance, which makes me think that this was intentional on Apple's part. Quick bursts of extremely high performance for short GPU tasks like rendering or editing, and then slightly downclock the GPU for consistent steady performance to avoid thermal issues, especially since both devices were not overheating and maintained steady loop scores. Now let's look at the results of the second stress test. So again, this just confirms my theory. The iPhone 12 Pro Max has a 15% increase in GPU performance for short burst tasks like quick rendering and editing, and then sadly a 5% increase in performance for long-term GPU tasks like gaming or long graphical editing or rendering tasks compared to the 11 Pro Max. On a positive note, CPU-wise, the iPhone 12 Pro Max does maintain a 20% increase in performance, which does play a role for everything else you usually do on a phone. Only certain games are more CPU dependent than GPU, but very little from my experience. Hence, for solely gaming, if you already have an 11 Pro Max, I wouldn't upgrade just yet. Definitely with the current state of the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Obviously, many of this information is subject to change as iOS 14.3 is still in beta phase. I think it will be released late December. Last but not least, here is a comparison of the GPU gaming performance of the iPhone 12 Pro Max and iPhone 11 Pro Max against other top-tier Android devices. Other than that, thank you guys again for all the support, and please subscribe to stay tuned for more game and device testing. Stay safe and take care.